Hello, Gemini friends. I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my Gemini August 2025 Astrology Horoscope Forecast Report, where I will give you all of the fast-moving planets that will affect you uniquely just this month, and we'll also go deeper into longer-term transits, including the entrance back into eclipse season, and some physics about how the physical laws of the universe translate into our astrological experience, specifically with this eclipse cycle, so that will be very interesting. And additionally, one of the best aspects of the whole year is going to be happening in Gemini's money house. So I'll give you those dates and that information. What I'm going to talk about here is for Gemini sun, moon, rising, any other Gemini placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. Very late degree Gemini friends, so birthdays like June 15th through the rest of the sign, or 23-degree Gemini placements through the rest of the sign. I suggest you additionally listen to my Cancer report, as you very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. Okay, so I'm going to do a building process here where we start with some of these faster moving aspects or transits that you will notice, but they'll be kind of, they'll come in and they'll come out. Then we'll hit some important dates and we'll go on to the deeper stuff. This is Leo season, and Leo season is great for Geminis because Leo planets are fellow, they're not fellow air sign, but they're fire sign, which is your complementary element. So it's speaking a language you understand. It's the language of action. It's that language of activity. It's the language of movement. And although we do have Mercury retrograde until August 11th, so the first half of the month, still will be a little bit more immobilized than you may want, with certain things in your life, while other things are super busy, maybe more busy than you want them to be. But it's your time to be the earthworm. This is supposed to be an earthworm. I realize it doesn't look like one. There we go. Be the earthworm in the first half of the month, going back over things to make fine soil for future crops. And then at that mid-month change, as Mercury goes direct, every day we progress in the second half of August, we are moving towards this open window, the last open window free from personal planet retrogrades for the whole year. And that will officially begin on August 26th. All right, so we've got, a hybrid month where you will notice that the first part of the month, it's better to just stand on the shore and watch to see what the tides roll in. And as the month progresses, you'll be ready to start pushing your things out with these outgoing tides. Okay, so that is all going to happen, this movement and activity. And Leo is going to make you feel ready to do things, ready to confront things. This is going to be in your third house of Gemini, which is the house of communication. And all of this action, Mercury retrograde in Leo, the sun in Leo, Venus eventually getting into Leo later in the month, is going to make you ready to have conversations that you need to have. And whether you're ready or not for them, they will be coming. Okay, so this is a very communicative month, which Gemini speaks that language. So that's really good. You will be busy and you will be, swirling around in this Gemini sort of mutable type of energy at the same time as the Leo fixed energies are going to be present. So I know that sounds a little bit confusing, but there are basically going to be certain focal points that you are going to spin all of your energy into, but it's going to be super busy. All right, so just look out for those important conversations. And if you are a writer or a creator of verbal or, other kinds of content, this could be a great month for you to go back over and update things, or for you to prepare for a launch as the planets, and the transits open up for that. So launches are much better when August 26th and after, we're in a period of time where anything that you do will have more of a chance for long-term gains. Okay, so while we're talking about dates, let's just go into this. August 9th, we've got a full moon in fellow air sign at 17 degrees Aquarius. This is going to happen for you in your 9th house. Fullness, completion, fruition, drama, for better or worse, but since it's in a nice angle for you, hopefully it will be good. In your sector of teaching and learning and publishing, this third 9th house polarity is lit up in both ways for you all. So, look for a lot of information coming in and a lot of information going out and a lot of mobility near and far, or making plans to take trips or actually taking them. Also, international business, different languages are also coming up. And just general optimism and lifting your spirits and your horizons. Okay, so this full moon could bring a new perspective on things. It could bring a new readiness to take action. And this is, going to be expressed very much through teaching and very much through learning. Okay, so now that date that I told you to look out for is actually 2 dates, August 11th through 12th. We have Venus in Cancer conjunct Jupiter, all right? And this happening in your money house. So Venus rules money and love and comfort and material things, aesthetics, finances, and Jupiter's the great expander. So as Venus crosses over that point that Jupiter is already at, look for a big something to come in. You may have something you've been wanting come in, like a material item. You may have, money come in. You may have news that money is going to come in. And since this is on the day that Mercury goes direct, there may be a little bit of chaos and confusion around it at the same time, but, it's still amazing. And what Gemini has going on from June 2025 to June 2026 is expansion of finances for the whole year, because Jupiter is expanding your money house for the whole year. And now this is a little touch point accentuating that already in motion transit, okay? Now, while this day isn't the best day for a long-term launch, it could be amazing for running a promo, for, a little publicity on what you're doing. It could be great for if an opportunity comes to you, for you to say yes, if it can advance something with your love relationship or your money relationship or something like that. So I don't love it for like a long-term launch, like bringing your life's work out on this date per se, because it's not the best time for first-time introductions into the world for something that's super big. But if you have, like, let's say you're an artist and you have a new piece that's in a series that's already been in motion, or you get asked to do something, that will show your work. This could, not only bring money in at this time, but plant seeds for money to come in from contacts that are made at this time. Also, I didn't mention, but it's very important to know, this is a very social time for Geminis. And so you may want to really feel into saying yes to networking and other social opportunities, because a lot of keys are going to be, sitting there waiting for you to scoop them up in settings where you're interacting with other people. Also, what may be highlighted with this third house movement of all of the Leo planets is things involving family members, all right? So, you may see cousins, aunts, uncles, they may become prominent, just kind of in your face all of a sudden, calling, contacting you. You may be seeing them, they may be seeing you, things like that, all right? So just look out for that as well. Mars is about to go into fellow air sign Libra, so this is going to be also really good for you. You've had Mars going through your fourth house for the couple of months prior to this, and that has made you very focused on home and family and housing, and you will see that linger a little bit into the beginning of August. And now it's going to be very focused on relationships, partnerships, interacting with other people, collaborating with other people, and that's going to accentuate your house of creativity. So you may have opportunities to lead, to teach, to work with people one-on-one, to bring your gifts out into the world, and you'll have a couple of months of extra great energy of Mars making a trine, the most fabulous aspect in all of astrology, with your placement for your voice to be heard. And by the way, that full moon in the days around the 9th, notice that this full moon is very close to that Venus-Jupiter thing. So these energies are all kind of melding together. But those of you who are within 12 to 22 degrees with your placement, the closer to 17 degrees, the more notable. So you all in this spectrum may see the most notable things that come from this moon. But when I say this, sometimes I have people say, what about me, if you're not in there? This moon is present for all people. But then there may be more of a chance that you see something notable if it's into these, these close degrees. And from the birthday perspective, this would be around June 2nd through June 12th, and with June 7th being, like the middle point there of the most notable intensity. And this is a trine, so that is also a really great connection. Okay, so let's see what else we've got going on. Okay, so new into Aries are Saturn and Neptune, and they're making a conjunction. And this is very notable because outer planets take a long time to move. So when they come into close proximity with each other in some sort of meaningful mathematical angle, as they are now, then it's having great effects, okay? And this is, again, at a great angle for Gemini. So this is activating your sector of friendships and networking and groups. And so I spoke about short-term evidence of importance of your relationships at this time. But this speaks to a longer story, okay? This is a longer story of testing your relationships, testing your friendships. You probably have been feeling this build of you getting more discerning with your relationships, of some idealism, maybe starting up or maybe dying down, where you were looking at people in a certain way through rose-colored glasses. So you're kind of battling with this idealistic way. You've seen groups that you're a part of, teams, the community, yourself within it. And you're starting to, Saturn is basically giving more of a dose of realism, while Neptune is lifting us up higher to what things could be. So you're building a new scaffolding, a new skeleton in your friendship space, in your group space, and even in your internet-based community space or in-person community space. So this is a long-term transit that's going on. It is favorable for Geminis from the perspective of the angle because it is the 60-degree angle of opportunities. So, just look for a long process of redoing how you interact with your friendships and within your groups, and you will see that happening now. Okay, so let's see. We have a new moon. The days around August 22nd and August 23rd. This is notable because it's at 0 degrees of Virgo. When it's at 0 degrees, that means the next new moon here will be at 29 degrees. So guess what that will be? A black moon, because it's the second new moon in a sign. So September 21st, we'll have a black moon in Virgo, the second new moon in a row, and that will be an eclipse. All right, so we've got a lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Pisces on September 7th, and a solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Virgo on this date, this black moon date. So what happens now with this August 22nd, 23rd date, it's part of a pair. It's an important part of like a dual access to plant seeds in the Virgo realms. In general, this means your systems, your organization. Geminis tend to spin internally and externally unless you have something in your chart, as I was alluding to before, this spinning. And so this Virgo energy can really help you to ground in certain very, very key things. And this is going to have very much to do with your home and family, all right, and housing. So you may find that you can establish routines at home, plant some seeds for wellness, daily practices that will help this spin to not be so debilitating, because the spin can be really good. It keeps you interested and interesting, and Geminis are very fun. I have a lot of Geminis close to me. They match well with my Sag nature. So, I really understand this energy because I'm mutable like you as well. And you're all over the place, and that's very interesting, but that can spin you out, and that can be, it can be a little bit much. But these new moons, the first one here in the days around August 22nd, 23rd, depending on your time zone, and then the eclipse can help you to get set with these routines. Meditation, just deep breathing, journaling, walking with your bare feet on the earth. This is a very well-grounded scientifically practice, because the earth has an electromagnetic field. We have an electromagnetic field, and all of the devices and spinning out, really gets us away from our center. So it's easier to tune into the earth vibration, which is, it's very comforting. And so practices like that can be what this new moon is all about. And they will have a lot to center around you and your home and your family as well. So just look out for those opportunities. Now, the eclipse time, let's talk a bit about this eclipse season. So from the end of 2024 through the first half of 2027, we are in a Pisces Virgo eclipse cycle. And this is activating the Gemini 4th and 10th house. Okay, so you will notice that the way you do your life out in the world and the way you do yourself at home, the way you do things in public, the way you do things in private, the way you interact with your family and your home and your housing, the way you interact at work or with your career, or for retired people, just your public things that you do, your place out in the world, whether it's paid or not, is under a major, major change. And you will have already seen with the two eclipses that have occurred at the end of 2024 and in early 2025, that things are restructuring in that world. Okay. And you will see now that we're opening another chapter. And even though these eclipses are in September, we have to talk about them now, or we're completely missing the boat, because the magnetic alignment that occurs from the eclipse, the sun, the moon, and the earth, the eclipses that make what's called a syzygy. We're going to get a little bit into physics now. SYZYGY. It's a vector. It's an alignment. All right, well, let's see. Yeah, I will just start with this right now. All right, so basically every planet has its own, and heavenly body has its own gravitational field. This was shown to be, well, basically Einstein had discovered this principle through his theory of relativity, gravity. So just bear with me a second, because this is going to help you understand some things that I have been talking about for a long time with how eclipses can actually help you to erase years and lifetimes of karma in an instant, and how time is different and weird, and you open up portals where you get to places faster than you thought that you would around eclipse time. I've talked about this phenomena for a long time. I usually try to go light on the physics topics because I know not everyone's interested in this, but I went to a really cool exhibit at the Cincinnati Museum of Science this past weekend, and I was really inspired to just go a little bit deeper into this with you, because it's really, really cool, so that you can see how the science relates to astrology, okay? Because I know sometimes that's cast into doubt, and I'd like to, just show you how it really is scientifically based. So basically, Einstein's theory of general relativity talks about unifying gravity with space-time curvature, okay? So we think of gravity as an up and down thing, but it's not. Basically, space and time bend around objects of mass. So planets, the moon, all of these things are objects of mass. We are objects of mass as well. And the greater the mass, the greater time and space bend around it. Now think about that for a second. We think of time as linear, right? And now we're talking about how time and space bends around an object of mass. That's why when you go out into space, time is different. And it's hard to put it's hard to think about that, because it's like, wait, what? Time is different out there because of the gravitational fields. And so time and space bend around us. They bend around the planet. And when you have planetary lineups, any of them, but especially ones that are very close in magnetic field when this happens, like the sun, moon, earth, whichever order, depending on the solar or lunar, they will combine their masses and energetically have more mass, which, as I just said, the theory says the greater the mass, the greater time and space bend around it, the mass, which explains what I've been telling you all along, why time gets weird at eclipse time. And it's not just the dates of the eclipses. It's a field before and after that is mathematically relevant. When the sun gets to a certain degree, it enters into, and other factors, the moon cycle and such, but it gets to, it starts to activate this gravitational alignment where the fields start to mix. And when the fields mix, time and space bends, basically. So if you're actively manifesting, if you're actively trying to clear out things, especially involving home and family or your place out in the world, especially involving Pisces, Virgo things like logic versus intuition, chaos versus form, your psychological health, your physical health, your way of using energy, all of these things, when you use the tools that we have for manifesting, spoken word, visualization, feeling something as if it's come true, you can combine with this bending of time and space to make massive headway and just jump right into a portal where your life is created very differently. Now, sometimes the eclipses bring these changes outside of our control, not things that we want to manifest. And that's not fun, but we can't control that. But what we can control is focusing on the things that we want, being clear about the things we want to leave behind, so that when these time, space, bending fields start to accelerate and magnify and amplify, that we can use the stitches in time for improving our outcomes. So yeah, that's all going on. So you can see that August is going to be a very powerful month. We are very much in eclipse season. You will be seeing news coming in from the eclipse cycle. You will be seeing changes and information moving along a continuum from things that had already happened involving houses or family homes or, those kind of things. And all of this will go into another chapter. So a very powerful month altogether. If you love how I teach and you want to learn, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com, and see my very comprehensive astrology mastery course with optional certification. If you want to understand how these outer planets, which have all changed recently, it's very rare that outer planets change signs because they move so slowly, but all of our outer planets, Uranus, Gemini, Pluto, Jupiter, Neptune, have all changed recently. And if you want to know how that affects your personal chart, see my personalized outer planet transit report at AnnieBClarity.com, Annie, the letter B, Clarity.com. If you like the dates and you want more of those dates, the best dates of the month, what I call the sweet ones, the salty days, the not so great ones, go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, put your name and email address in, and get the welcome letter. You will get the Eclipse resource page, the retrograde resource page, Zodiac Health Tips, 28-day virtual coaching program, and there will be an archive link where you can go to that archive, put in August 2025 astrology, and get that newsletter that has the sweet and salty dates. They will be midway down that newsletter. And then the whole second half of the long newsletter is devoted to going in deeper with my favorite dates and what you can do with those energies and the ones to watch out for. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.